happens is that the market moves. I mean, let's assume a loan. I mean, in the UK, they give or they were giving 90 or even 100% LTV, loan to value loans. But so what you have there is that, so you gave $1 million. Let's say the collateral was 1.2 million. So, okay, you're good. But if real estate values drop by 40% or 50%, so there are 600,000, and the person sitting opposite you says, look, I'm bust, there's no business anymore, I'm out. Then the banker will turn around and say, well, hold on a minute, there's no business for me to deal with. There's nothing, there's no loan terms for me to restructure. I'm going to get my recoveries through the collateral, through what somebody has mortgaged. In this case, let's say it's that warehouse, which you thought, not, maybe you didn't think, maybe it was the right decision at the time, it was worth 1.2 million. 5-7 years down the line, is worth 600,000. It has various town planning or other problems associated with it. Nobody has really maintained it for the last 4 or 5 years because the guy was trying to make ends meet. So, they weren't going to maintain the roof or anything like that. So the roof is leaking. Maybe they brought in some tenants and you don't know anything about them because they were trying to make some money on the side to actually make the payment. So the whole thing it ain't great. And this is what banks, so in answer to your first question, which is what do the banks do, is in the first instance, they try to go through the standard process that they have for the up to 3 to 5%. They try to do the same. But then very quickly what they end up doing is that what happens is that the system gets clogged up. They get too many loans ending up to be processed to the system. The people who are dealing with these loans are not the right people for the job because, as I said, they haven't done this thing before. They don't have the ethos and the business acumen to do it. So this is
we're talking about running the real estate or running the loans?
Yeah, talking about running the loans first, and then once that kicks in, and you bring usually they would bring in specialist consultants in who actually only do that. So you would fly in a restructuring team of either a big four firm or other companies that specialize in doing this type of loan restructurings. But then at the same time, you need let's say people who understand the real estate side, and this is sort of how I started my career, because the issue that the financial institutions in Cyprus and Greece, where I have worked most of the last 10 years, had was that they would fly in these consultants, usually out of the UK and Ireland. And I say UK and Ireland because in the UK, these types of business going bust and turning the business around and the equivalent of Chapter 11 and so on and so forth, it had been going on for a while. Ireland, because it was one of the first countries to get hit in 2008, 2009 by the downturn, and then rebounded quite quickly. So they exported this skill set to other jurisdictions. But when these people fly in and they say, okay, I'm sitting opposite this developer to restructure their loans, and they turn around to a valuer, because that's the real estate consultant they have at hand, and they say, okay, what is this building worth? Well, the problem that they have is that the valuer will step in and they will say, I'm doing a red book valuation, and assuming this, blah, 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 it's this amount. And then then they look at them and say, well, this is the real world. There are no assumptions to be made, right? And I'm saying that because, having worked as a valuer, you can't make assumptions in this case, because it's not a case, I'm going to do a report, and if there is a problem, it will materialize 1, 2, 10 years down the line, maybe never. You're never going to be called upon as a valuer to own up to any mistakes that you've made. But in this case, the bank will make a decision. They will repossess the asset, or they will put it on the market within a matter of months. And then if they don't get the amount of money that you told them they will turn around to you and say, hold on a minute, mate. You told me it's worth 10 million. Nobody's even coming close to that. They're coming in at 6. What are you doing here?